For this project, you will need a pack of plastic chopping mats, tape, scissors, concrete, white spray paint, a plant of your choice, and a bowl and stirring stick for mixing your concrete. To start off, I cut out a square and a triangle stencil that can be used to make sure every single shape is the same size. The triangle measures 3 inches from the top to the bottom. The sides of the triangles measure 3.5 inches. The square measurements are 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Now the next stencil that I cut out was another square stencil. This square is a little smaller and will be used for the inside of the geometric planter. This square measures 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Now it's time to start drawing out all our shapes so we can get to cutting. We will need 5 large squares, 5 smaller squares, and 8 triangles to get this shape correct. Once you're done drawing out all your shapes, let's cut them out. Now that we're done cutting out all our shapes, let's set them aside and set them up using this template that I included on this screen here. This is how you should set up all your shapes. These are only the triangles and the large squares. Remember, we'll be using the smaller squares later on. Once all your shapes are set together and matching the template, let's start taping down those seams. Once you're done taping down the seams, start playing with the template to really find the shape. It took me a couple of seconds to really figure out where I was going with it. Once you find the shape, make sure you start taping all the seams together and make sure all the seams are closed with tape. No seams are open, because once we start pouring concrete, we don't want any leaking. Alright, well now that we set up our shape, the next step is to make our inside mold. Get all your smaller squares together and set them up in the shape of a cross. Once you have all your squares set up in a shape of a cross, tape all the seams together. Once that's done, fold your cross inwards and tape all those seams together, eventually forming a box with no lid. Now let's check if this box fits perfectly inside the geometric mold. Well, it looks like it's perfect. Now let's move on to the next step. Now get your concrete out in your container of water and mix both together. Start stirring both until you get a consistency of oatmeal. This is what we will need to make this project come out perfect. Now that the consistency of the concrete is set, let's pour that into our geometric mold. When you pour your concrete, make sure you do not pour the concrete all the way to the top. Make sure you leave some space, because once we put our inner mold in, the concrete will rise and you don't want it to spill out too much. I suggest tapping the outer layers of the plastic to get some air bubbles flowing to the top and they can pop. The more air bubbles there are on a project, the worse it's going to look. The less, the better, and that's what we want. Now let's insert the inner mold into this planter. Once you have the square exactly where you want it, tape it down into place. Now finish it off by doing even some more tapping on the outside of this, just to get these air bubbles flowing, because we really don't want those things. Once you're done with all your tapping, take it somewhere that's not going to be cold and let it sit for at least 24 hours.
24 hours later.
The reveal is finally here. I don't know about you, but I'm really impatient, so this part right here I was really excited for. Start by taking out your outer layers of the plastic, and then we can move on to taking out the mold. All right. I mean, the shape is looking real good in my opinion. What do you think? I suggest letting it sit for 24 more hours without the plastic on it. So let's do that, and then tomorrow we'll get back into it and paint it white.
The next day.
All right, well, the fun part is finally here. Let's get the concrete planter and take it somewhere where you're not really afraid of ruining any personal belongings. For me, I put it in a box outside in my yard. Start by spray painting your first coat. As soon as I started spray painting my first coat, I saw some rough edges and I decided to go get my sandpaper and sand those edges down and then spray paint it on top of it. Believe me, this won't ruin anything. I suggest doing at least 2 coats all around to make it look nice and clean. Alright, so now that we're all done spray painting, I think it came out amazing. I mean, this project right here looks store-bought. Now let's move on to the next and final step, which is putting in the plant. I bought this plant from Home Depot for $4, and I really liked it because of the white spots on the green leaves, and I thought it would look really good against a white planter. What do you think? This looks even better than I thought it would. I mean, it looks store-bought in my opinion, and it's heavy. You can put it on top of books, on top of anything. Well, there's this project and you're all done. Congratulations. I hope you love it. I hope you like it, and let's see where we can put it.